This is the unforgettable Andre Dekker, and this is my Brit Rest journey.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Big Wavy Roy Johnson here.
This is the professional Nathan Cruz.
Yo, this is man like Doris.
Hi, this is Tom Thurber.
This is Benji.
This is the Asian sensation Kanji.
This is the Nightmare Fuel Hassan Malone.
This is Joe Rage, the heavyweight classic.
This is Mad Dog O'Doherty.
This is Tonga.
I'm the Breaker, Carl Kingsley.
This is the infamous Cameron Solis, and you're listening
to
Broken but Glorious.
Broken but Glorious.
To Broken but Glorious podcast, because like me, you are head to toe a pro.
Hello and welcome to my Brit Rest journey on bbgwrestling.com. I'm Chris Lappin. I'm delighted to be joined on the line by the unforgettable Andre Dekker. How you doing this evening, Andre?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, usually.
Just, kicking back with a couple drinks this evening.
I would usually have a beer or so whilst doing an interview or podcast, but I've still got this sore throat, and listeners are going to think I've had a sore throat for about a month, but I've just recorded a lot of interviews over the last couple of weeks, so I don't have to do loads in December.
Beer won't be any good for you, but some of the strong stuff, that burn might help. Get some rum down you, that's what I'm on today.
Yes, rum and whiskey. I've got a few bottles of whiskey. So huge thanks for joining this evening. How's your return to the ring then, post-lockdown?
Well, to be honest, it's been okay. I'm not wrestling as many places as I should be. One particular place doesn't really fancy having me around, so I've been mostly, instead of actually really wrestling, I'm pretty much just getting involved in that really and spoiling other people's wrestling matches, which has been more fun than wrestling at times, to be honest.
Yeah, so particularly at Odyssey Pro Wrestling, your mission seems to be to make RPD regret becoming a wrestler. Absolutely, and mostly the fact is, how I see it anyway, is that Odyssey really wanted, basically they've put RPD in a position that's my position. So, to be honest, it's not even RPD's fault. He was the one thrust in that position. It's not his fault he didn't deserve it. He got an opportunity and he took it. But at the end of the day, that spot's my spot. So regardless if Odyssey want me around, and regardless if, I don't even know RPD really, but so I can't say I hate him, but he's in my spot and I'm going to get it back. So yeah, that's just unfortunate for him really. Yeah, so let the listeners what was happened. So he had a match with Scotty Raw, and then you came out the crowd and attacked him after the match, and then the championship tournaments, you interfered in that match as well?
Yeah, so at the Stormy Waters, the championship tournament, he was in the first round against Sam Bailey. It looked like he'd got the win, he'd knocked the ref down, and me being as smart as I am, I know that building in Morecambe like the back of my hand. So snuck my way in there, shoved a security jacket on and a baseball cap. No one knew it was me. So I snuck in there, jumped in the ring, and then took him out. So he's out of the championship tournament, unfortunately for him. But again, that's what he gets for stealing my spot. That spot's mine. I'm meant to be the star in that ring. That ring in Morecambe is my stage. That's where I started. That's where I always should be. So the fact that I'm not there, and they've shoehorned a professional boxer who's had the red carpet rolled out for him in wrestling, I take exception to that. So, to be honest, whatever happened, happened.
Yeah, because I fancied booked that it was going to be Born Again Implode in the final. So
yeah, well, Born Ready, the famous tag team that haven't really teamed yet. They can, they think they're running Morecambe Wrestling. They're the guys. They're the future. You got Ryan Hunter, the mainstay. What's it JJ Webb called him? The John Cena of Morecambe. See,
the Hulk Hogan of Morecambe, I heard.
Is that what he said? The Hulk Hogan of Morecambe.
Somebody's called him the Hulk Hogan.
So they think that they can just move on without me. And, my name's never mentioned in that equation, even though other than Ryan Hunter, I've been there longer than all of them. To be honest, I trained with Ryan Hunter. So when they talk about Ryan Hunter's rags to riches journey, it really should be mine. So again, the fact is, That's why I say I'm unforgettable, because the people, as much as they try to forget who I am, I just don't allow that to happen.
Wow. Yeah, away from Morecambe, I saw that you were in the ring with some British wrestling royalty and Frankie Sloan recently. That must have been a fun, like, from a learning perspective, that must have been a great opportunity.
Absolutely. So that was for a company called Paramount Promotions Wrestling. So I've had a few opportunities with them. We run quite small family run shows in Liverpool.
Yes.
So I had the opportunity to wrestle and beat up a wrestling legend. It was, and I said, and as you said, it's a great learning experience. So I was chuffed with that, to wrestle him. And it was, as much a good experience as I thought it would be. Exceeded my expectations, to be honest.
Yeah, Frankie seems like he's a lot of fun. I met him before Paramount was Paramount. It was Just Fabulous. So I saw him wrestling backstage at the Just Fabulous show. So 2 or 3 weeks before lockdown kicked in.
He got very lucky to get the win, though. To be honest,
yes,
it's just like that crowd just distracted me. They just didn't, and so he was very lucky to get the win. I'm just a bit out of practice, I think. See, this is why I need to be on these shows more often. I was a bit out of practice. The crowd, it was like an away game, really. Yes. So, I had to see it as a 1-0 loss away. We go again. And you know what? I'd happily have a rematch, and I definitely know the result will be different.
Definitely. And then was it the return of Knockout Wrestling last weekend?
Yeah, so KOW, the underclass returned. And the new improved underclass, and the debut of the team of me and Keenan.
Yes.
And we defeated Ryan Hunter and Big Sean Vasey. And to be honest, of course that was going to happen. 2-Bit, the leader of the underclass, became the new KOW champion.
Yes.
And we're now the number 1 contenders for the KOW Tag Team Championships. A title that we lost just before lockdown, and a title that we were due a rematch for.
Yes.
So the fact that we even had to wrestle Hunter and Vasey was an absolute farce anyway, because we were due a rematch. So of course what happened, we've earned ourselves a title shot again, and we're going to get all the gold. We will be the rulers of KOW, the Rat King, alongside with the Rat Queen Jennifer.
Yes.
And then it'll be me and Keenan with the tag team championships.
Oh, amazing. I can imagine you and Keenan being a great team.
Yeah, we are. And you know what? We're going to run riot on any tag team that comes to Barrow.
Were there any matches or storylines during 2020, during the lockdown, that you were particularly looking forward to, that you couldn't get involved with?
Well, originally the start of Odyssey Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
I was meant to be 2020, and to be honest, I was meant to be a big part of that. I can't spoil what and how, but so I was really looking forward to that. I ended up having an interview on BBC Radio Lancashire talking about it and my involvement and what we're going to have to do, and we were ready to go, and then lockdown hit. And then, see, that's when the calls stopped, really. After lockdown hit, I didn't really hear anything. And then the next thing you know, they were announcing people on the roster, and I wasn't there. So that's what's got my back up, to be honest with you, mate. But yeah, so they were there, and then also I was doing some stuff with KOW. We were just doing more tag team wrestling with the underclass. It was me and a wrestler called Jax Kelly, who were the original, an original member of the underclass, but he's now, since lockdown, he's taken a break away from wrestling, I think due to injuries. So, but hey, you know what? Things happen and we evolve and move on. And you know what? We've improved with Keenan.
I'll say he's not a bad replacement for Keenan.
No, I wouldn't say. I'd say we've upgraded, we've up-leveled. So the underclass was good, now it's great.
When I interviewed Synergy, they said their plan is to just piggyback off how good Keenan is.
Yeah, now he's left him.
Yeah.
So now it's my job to piggyback off how good Keenan is.
Yeah. So I guess having them 18 months off gave you time to rest your body and evaluate what's kind of worked well and what hasn't worked well over the last couple of years. So now we're back. Have you going to make any tweaks to your moveset, etc.? No?
Well, basically what I've done over what I've done over the lockdown really mostly is just getting in good physical condition and physical shape. I'd always hit the gym and always lifted weights, but to be honest, mate, my cardio game was rotten. So I've worked mostly on that and conditioning. And to be honest, I could be going for a long time and I won't get tired. You know. What Ric Flair said? Ric Flair said, "I'm a 60-minute man." That's me now.
Yeah, if anyone just sees your Instagram, they just see you skipping constantly and jogging. That's something I really wish I could do. Jog.
Well, we can all do it. It's just where to start. So, with lockdown, once it kicked in, I didn't have much time to do anything else really. It was just, I'm gonna make myself the best version of me. So I decided I've dropped a couple stone, so I'm leaner, meaner, and my conditioning's better. And trust me, when I'm beating these wrestlers around the ring, they're gonna be surprised that I can keep doing it and doing it. I won't tire. So, it's gonna be their reckoning, really.
This is 2-Bit, and you're listening to BBG Wrestling.
If we go way back, so this will probably give away your age. Who was your favourite wrestler growing up?
Okay. Yeah, it will give away my age. So I started watching wrestling when I was 9 years old. Mm-hmm. So that time was the corporate ministry time with Vince McMahon and The Undertaker. They just joined together. The Rock had just stopped being the corporate champion and was now the people's champion. Steve Austin had just got run over. So you're looking like kind of that time. So my favorite originally, as soon as I turned on the TV and it's mainstream as anything to say, but it was The Rock.
Yes.
As a kid, especially as a young mixed race kid who didn't see a lot of people who looked like him. The Rock's obviously, black Samoan, I'm black English, but it was a guy who was a mixed race champion, and a star on your TV, which didn't really happen a lot.
Definitely.
So,
especially not in the 90s.
No, not in the 90s at all. So, people who look like you weren't really something, and I know maybe you don't relate as much, but people who look like me wasn't something I really saw. And it's like, he doesn't look anything like me, but it was a mixed race guy being just portrayed as them without any kind of because his character, there's no real stereotypes with him or anything like that. It was, this is The Rock and this is the star. And I just was drawn to it as a little kid, and could talk the best, he could fight the best, he was funny, but then he was serious, but then he was tough. It was just, as a kid, I was like, no, and even now, you just want to be more like that guy. So it's like that admiration hasn't changed. But then as I got into wrestling a lot more, and as I got older, I did love a lot of big brawlers. When I started venturing outside of WWE, I saw guys like Samoa Joe, who I absolutely think is brilliant, who has that he's a big guy who can go, and he's got that intensity. He also has quite a lot of agility for his size. I know it's a bit less now because he's getting a little bit older, but he's still,
still has 2005, 2008 Samoa Joe.
Yeah, when no one could touch him in Ring of Honor, and he was just beating everybody.
Yes.
That's when I first started seeing Samoa. That's when I first saw Samoa Joe, and then he did something similar in TNA, which I always thought was a farce when Kurt Angle beat him, to be honest.
Yes.
I mean, it was cool. It was a really cool match, and I love the Kurt Angle's debut where he just comes out and headbutts him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like, and I thought it was a shame that Kurt Angle beat him. I thought if they just have Samoa Joe win forever, I'd be happy. I just thought it was brilliant, and his finisher, the Muscle Buster, just looks like it kills you. It's like, you know, and everything he did, just you couldn't see through it. It was like, yeah, that's legit. Samoa Joe would kill me. When it's like Joe is gonna kill you, it was like, yeah, he actually might.
Yeah, I miss the Attitude Era. Obviously, I'm a bit older than you, so when the Attitude Era came around, I was start going out drinking and meeting girls and doing all, because wrestling wasn't cool. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you were talking about the Attitude Era when you were going out in town, I'm sure it wouldn't have went down that well.
I did like occasionally they'd have like the pay-per-views on in the crazy houses. Sometimes I'd just sit there drinking and watching the
Good day,
pay-per-views. They'll be on like a couple of months after it.
Yeah, because I went to uni in Preston and there was a few bars that did that. They would show WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and I'd go with a few mates and have a few drinks and just watch the wrestling and stay up till a ridiculous o'clock.
Yeah,
so
that
was good fun.
What prompted you to dramatize yourself and get to them?
I think I was becoming more of a fan and watching it more, and then I realized like I spend a lot of time watching all this wrestling stuff that none of my friends really care about. I mean, I thought either I'm gonna be one of those guys who's just got a weird little obsession, or I'm going to do something productive with it.
Yeah.
I thought, look, I watched this wrestling all the time. I'd never actually been to an independent show as a kid. So I was at uni and I was like kind of bored, and I was like, look, I literally go out drinking, study and watch wrestling. That's about it. So I was like, well, this wrestling stuff is like probably I'd have more fun doing that than I do going out drinking, and then I do doing my uni work, which I was like slacking off on a lot. So I was like, well, I need to do something productive that I want to go with. And I've always had the thought in the back of my mind, it would be cool to be a wrestler. And then I went on Google, and then I saw not too far from me, GPW had a training school.
Mm-hmm.
So I then went to train there. This is like talking probably about 2012, 2013.
Yes.
So I trained there for a few months. I then got into a relationship for a while and was then ended up deciding not to pursue it anymore because of the time it was taking.
Yeah.
Then not long after that, left that relationship and then got back that, and then ended up back into wrestling again. And I ended up, and that's when I started with Morecambe because I don't know, I just the days it worked, I couldn't really get the time to go over to Manchester. Morecambe, I mean, takes just as long, but it was a different time of the day. I think it was a bit earlier, a bit later. I can't remember exactly why. Mm-hmm. But Johnny Fear was running a school, the XWA training school.
Yes.
So I started training there and it was towards its dying days, to be honest. So it become paid promotions. And they were running a training school in the Regent Park Studios in Morecambe. So when I arrived there was like that was when I first met Ryan Hunter, who was like a young 15-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. Craig Collins was there, he was first getting on shows there in Morecambe, and before he became the War Machine, but he was already brilliant at that point, and he'd just done a few shows.
Yeah, I was gutted that he got injured and wasn't at that first Odyssey show. It's like, I've seen him so much on YouTube, I've never seen him live, so I was like really excited to see him live.
Yeah, Craig, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the country is Craig Collins.
Yeah.
I think he's quite a to himself guy, so he doesn't maybe get about as much as he could have, because he's like very much, he does his own thing. But I don't think there's anyone better in wrestling than Craig Collins, in my opinion, in Britain. And he could wrestle a match with anybody, and it would be good. He's got the size, he's got charisma. He's not the biggest talker in the world, but he doesn't have to be. He's just, And as soon as you hear his music hit, and you see him come out, he's one of those guys who just has this big fight feel.
Yes.
You're thinking, all right, now it's time. Now this is the real deal. He just has that big fight feel about him. I've been across the ring from him, and it makes you up your game as well, because you know you're in for a war. So yeah, so Craig Collins was there, and also big Sean Vasey was there as well. You know, massive 7-foot junior lad, and also one of a Morecambe champion called King Ryan Grayson, a young Ryan Grayson as well. So we all trained together at that point. They'd been training a little bit longer than me. I joined them towards the end days of the XWA training school, and we were trained by Johnny Fear. And then after that died, it was basically up to ourselves to find training schools. At that point, Craig Collins, Ryan Grayson, Sean Vasey had already established themselves as guys on the shows in Morecambe.
Yes.
So, also Craig and Sean were from Barrow Furnace. KOW had their wrestling school where they were training. And then it was basically me and Ryan Hunter were basically going to training schools and learning how to do the craft. And so we've been to Marty Jones. I've trained a lot with most of my training in the last few years has been by Gypsy John Kenny. We just did our best to find the best trainers we could, and then train with them and learn as much as we can.
Oh man! So was the Rock stroke Samoa Joe who you like to mold your style around when you start training?
Well, when I started training, I thought, yeah, but then I just thought and I realized like the way I looked and the way I moved, I just took on the style of more of a brawler. So yes. I would say if I was between the two, I wasn't as flashy as The Rock. I mean, The Rock didn't do anything really that flashy, but he was very.
Yeah, if you go back to how much his matches,
you know, he was very polished.
Yeah,
he was very polished. He didn't look. I'm a bit more rough around the edges, you know. Mm-hmm. So I would say similar to a Samoa Joe if you're going to go there. But I would probably say as I got into wrestling, I always just liked the big brawlers. I watch a lot of old Bruiser Brody stuff. I watch a lot of JBL. A lot of JBL, and I think he's underrated as to what he can do, because he's a big guy who can throw, but then throw down, and he can fight, and you believe it. But then also, as a heel, he still makes a way to look like a coward as well. So I watch a lot of JBL, and a lot of Scott Hall as Razor Ramon as well.
Yes,
and just kind of look at these bigger wrestlers who can brawl, who can get down and dirty, and think, you know what? That's how I'm a bit like that anyway. So that suits me. That suits my personality. And, you know, I'm never going to have a 10 out of 10 technical match. I'm never going to be a Dave Meltzer 5-star guy. So why bother even try and be a second-rate technical wrestler?
Yeah.
When I can go out there and make people feel like they're watching a fight, make it feel like it's a real fight.
Yeah. What do you have an idea of a character when you started? What was like Andre version 1 like compared to what he is?
Originally it was, the promoter of Alpha Omega Wrestling and I'm sure he did it because I'd been training for a while and thought, you know what, let's just give him a shot anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think he had any real plans for me originally. But yeah, he put me in a stable with James Drake. So it was James Drake, Barricade, and a wrestler called Barricade from Nottingham, who's a really good guy and really good wrestler. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a good big man as well. So he was a guy I learned a lot just by watching little bits he did. And then myself. James Drake ended up, you know, obviously moving on, going on to bigger and better things. And so we ended up forming a team called Hellbound with Alton Thorne. Ooh, and then also we were managed by Felony, the Living Dead girl as well. So, and that's when we really hit our stride. And that's when I really started to understand and improve and really start working on who I am, because straight from the get-go, the plan was for us to obviously split, and for me to, and it ended up with me and Barricade and Alton Thorn basically imploding.
Wow.
Then I started doing the drinking thing where I'd come out with a bottle of rum and start yelling at fans and yelling at him. And then we culminated the breakup of the team where I smashed a rum bottle over Barricade's head.
Wow.
For him. And that was me as a single star. Barricade was done. Alton Thorn, I knocked him out with a chain. And I'd shook off shook off the dead weight that was my tag team partners and went for it on my own. I mean, we'll talk a lot less about the fact that Barricade returned and mugged me off on the last Alpha Omega show. We won't talk too much about that. I mean, I wasn't ready. I didn't know he was going to return. He came out the blue. It wasn't a fair fight. So I don't care. He can say he beat me up, but he didn't really. It was not fairly. There wasn't a ref in the ring. It wasn't an official win. So he can do one.
I don't think we can talk about Alpha Omega and Odyssey without mentioning the fans in Morecambe. They are the craziest fans I've ever seen.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When they say it's real in Morecambe, they believe it's there because it's not just a tagline. It's there because it is real in Morecambe. There's a fan I think is definitely going to fight me one day. There's a couple. I look at them, they got hate in their eyes, and it's not like hate because they're watching something and they want to be a bad guy. No, they hate me. And you know what? I'm happy that they hate me, because to be honest, they might try it, but they won't like the result if they do. But yeah, so it's something that every single wrestler who comes to Morecambe talks about is the reaction of the fans. And that's something that
I thought we were pretty loud at Wrestle Island, but going there, I was like, wow. And they seem to remember. I think Chris Ridgway do something bad like 5 years ago, and then he got booed to death when he came out to make the save on Ryan Hunter.
They don't forget. They don't forget. Yeah, so it's one of those. Chris Ridgway thought he could make a save on Ryan Hunter, and they'd forget all the bad he's done in the past. And it's like, no, they don't forget. That's why you've got to just embrace the hate and realize that you'll never win them over. So why not just take joy in making them miserable like I did?
For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Keenan, and you are listening to BBG Wrestling Podcast.
Alright, so this Saturday, 20th of November, Odyssey Pro Wrestling presents Pier at the Layton Institute in Blackpool. The show is dedicated to the memory of Jordan Banks. They're raising money for Brian House Hospice. I'll put a link to the Just Given in the description below the interview. So, main evented by some big beefy boys at a table. That's a chair match. So, Reese Rogan versus Synergy versus Already.
You know who I feel sorry for in that match?
RPD.
The tables and the ladders and the chairs. So that's going to be a big, just a big brawling match, isn't it? So I'm sure the fans will have a lot to look at. They'll enjoy it. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is I've now been invited by General Manager Ethan Edwards to make an appearance.
I was going to say, you are on the poster, but you haven't had a match announced yet.
No, they just shoved me. Did you see that? They just shoved me on the poster, and then I've tried to call and see what's going on, or why they've done that, and I've not got anything. And then I released, I released had a word and spoke my thoughts, and I've released them online. Just calling them out for it, really. And now I've been invited, and they've basically said that they actually wanted me to have a match. And I'm like, well, it's a load of rubbish, really, because I've I've not been asked about this. You just shoved my face on the poster.
Yes.
And then now you're inviting me to say my piece. What did he put? He put plead my case. So he's asking me to go to Odyssey Pro Wrestling and beg for a job, which I'll be there, but I ain't going to be doing any begging. He's not gonna get the satisfaction, but I'll accept his invitation. I'll be there, and he can explain as to why he's using my face to sell tickets when he's not really having any real intention of using me. So, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's a pretty stacked card from what I can see. So,
yeah.
Ryan Hunter versus Scotty Rourke should be fun.
Yeah. So, to Scotty Rourke, who had a great showing against RPD. Everyone around the country knows what he can do and how good he is. And, he's destined for big things.
He's
Ryan Hunter.
He won the TNT Ultra X title from Kid Like Us 2 recently for TNT.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was a corker of him. I didn't see it, but I can imagine it being, those two going at it would be great.
Yeah. Ryan Hunter, the Hulk Hogan of Morecambe. I'm trying to remember who said it now.
Well, I'm not sure if it's self-proclaimed, but, the man of the hour of Morecambe. He's actually from Blackpool originally as well, so he's probably going to have a similar reaction there. So that'll be interesting to see. Interested to see Ryan there. Is actually the bigger guy in that match. So, but then Scotty's a very smart, methodical guy and has a lot of different offenses. So he's, he can do the aerial thing, but then he can get down and dirty and fight as well. So I hope he knocks Hunter out, to be honest with you.
Two-Bit versus Nick Cutter. That should be a fun match.
So my underclass buddy, Two-Bit.
Yes.
And we'll see him, I'm sure, wipe the floor with Nick Cutter. I've seen Nick Cutter in LWF. Yeah, he was impressive. But Two-Bit, the Rat King, is on a roll right now. He's the KOW champion now.
Mm-hmm.
And in Morecambe, he's won his first two matches on the shows and he's looking good in the tournament, it looks like.
He's great. Yeah, Nick Cutter's going for the LWF championship next month, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I'm sure they'll smash it.
That should be a great match. Then we've got one of my favourites, Mickey Barnes.
Bad lad. Another guy I met Mickey Barnes when I first started training in GPW. So he's, I know another a real heavyweight wrestler.
Great heavyweight.
Proper heavyweight.
Yeah.
There's not enough proper heavyweight wrestlers about, and he's one of them. So it'll be good to see him do his thing, and you know what? I'm glad I'm invited there now, because I will be able to catch that. I'm sure it'll be good to watch.
Yeah. So Mickey Barnes is teaming with Nate Reese against the Freak Show.
Yeah, the Freak Show. So another couple guys who you just don't know what to expect from them, and they're gonna have Quinn in his corner as well. So in the corner, I think so. Yeah, again, unpredictable. I don't know whether they were last seen. I think they kidnapped Mark Meltzer, it looks like. So I'm not sure where he is and what they're doing with him and where they've kept him. So whether he'll be about, whether he won't, I don't know.
Yeah. I saw Mickey Barnes recently at Mega Slam, and he was a lot of fun. He just gets over to the crowd like so quickly. There's something about him when you see him.
Yeah, he's got presence. He's got presence, and it works.
Yeah. Then you've got the Jenny B versus Helena Razor. It should be.
Yeah. So, Jenny B is one of the, she was in Morecambe Wrestling before, when it was Alpha Omega.
Yeah.
Called herself Miss Morecambe, and she was a champion there. So she's probably in a similar situation to me. Odyssey didn't pick up the phone and call her straight away, so I would be wanting to make an example of Helena, who I know Helena's doing bits as well. So she's doing well with the LWF, and I see she's getting, I think it's BTW she had a couple of opportunities with. And then I'm not too sure about if she wrestled at Future Shock.
I'm not sure about Future Shock.
Whether she has on. I know she's doing a lot of training with those as well. So she's someone on the up, but then, the experience factor of Jenny B, the fact is, she's got a work cut out for her for the likes of Jenny B, and then she's going to have Jack in her corner as well. So that's another factor in there.
Then you got this fatal four-way. I'm like, no idea who's going to win this. You got Sam Bailey, Big Guns Joe, Keenan, and Rob Drake.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. Sam Bailey. Sam Bailey owes me a thank you, by the way, because he's still in the tournament because of me. So
yeah, definitely.
I still haven't heard from him. He needs to give me a heads up, give me that credit, because to be fair, I got him through to that next round. So I'm sure I'll be having words with him. So yeah, as a match though, he's the guy with the experience level. There, he's probably trained most of them to a point. So he's probably the one with all the cards, really. Obviously you've got the likes of, Big Guns Joe could do bits as well. So he's doing really, really well for himself, and he's getting
too
about.
Big. And the whole point of Big Guns Joe is that he thinks he's big, not that he is actually big.
Well, he's not that big, is he? He's not that big.
Compared to what he was 3 years ago, when we used to see tiny Joe at him at Wrestle Island, and now he's all big and muscly.
Yeah, no, he's not that big. Yeah, Big Guns Joe. Yeah, he's big, but he's not that big. I'm bigger than Big Guns Joe. But yeah, no, Big Guns Joe as well. He's pretty much wrestling everywhere now, and so he's got a lot of experience behind him. Joking aside, so he is another guy who you can't write off as well. And then Odyssey, you've not really never seen Rob Drake before, so again, sometimes it's being the unknown is an advantage. So who knows what he's got up his sleeve. So again, it will be interesting to see. And now I'm invited and I'm allowed there. I'm gonna take some time to scout all these guys, because eventually all these guys are just gonna have to face me, and we all know the result when any of them go one-on-one with me, to be honest.
Well, last one on the poster, it just says Lucas Neon will be in action, so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who Ethan has planned for that, but yeah, young guy in Lucas Neon. Mm-hmm. He's getting an opportunity, so good for him. I have no clue what they've got plans for. The fact is, you know what? It's weird that I'm not in a match, and it's they're throwing opportunities at guys like Lucas Neon, who, hey, good young talent. Mm-hmm. More people need to know him and need to see him do his thing. But I mean, you're gonna give spots to people like that over me? Nah, ridiculous. So the most important part of that show is gonna be me saying my piece.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure when they're gonna. I say when they're gonna let me. When I'm ready, I'm just gonna walk out to that ring and I'm gonna say what I have to, and they're just gonna have to deal with it. So they brought that upon themselves. They've now invited me. They've now let me in. So, boys, you get what you ask for.
Yeah, and just a reminder, this show is... Oh, sorry. Yeah, and just a reminder, this show is dedicated to the memory of Jordan Banks and hashtag for Jordan, raising money for Brian House Hospice. Please donate, and the link will be in the description below the interview. And then...
Yeah, so that's one good thing that they're doing. So they have a Just Giving page that they've been sharing as well. So do donate.
And we've got the 4th of December show. Odyssey is back in Morecambe, and I'm going to botch the name of the club. It's Alhambra.
Alhambra, which was the first show was there, but they've changed their name.
The Carlton was nice and easy to say.
Yeah. So the Alhambra Live,
presents Buried Treasure, which we'll see the crowning of two champions, that the Odyssey Championship champion and the OPW Women's Champion will be crowned. We had the semi-finals and the final of the Odyssey Championship tournament. Ryan Hunter takes on Sam Bailey, and then Rick Marcus takes on Two-Bit. And then the final will be later in the night.
Yeah. So again, two interesting semi-finals, and you know what? I'm still not too happy at the fact that I'm in that tournament. So again, I know that venue like the back of my hand, and I'm not saying I'm getting involved, but then you never know. I might just get bored. I mean, I don't really like Rick Marcus either, to be honest. I've always had a bit of a problem with him. He's just on all the posters these days, isn't he? And I mean, he's doing well for himself. He's a big, strong lad. He's, no nonsense. But you know what? I don't like the look of him. Never liked him.
He could have RPD at ringside with him to counteract the Jenny effect. Jennifer.
Yeah, I guess he could. But I just think, again, I'm gonna back my underclass brother. I'm gonna back the Rat King Two-Bit, because at the moment he's on a roll, and everywhere he goes, he makes an impression. Beating Troy Ryan, a guy who dwarfs him in size, really, but being able to basically beat David and knock down Goliath, and people are acting like he used Jennifer to cheat, but it's, look at the difference. It's about what you can do. It's about doing everything you can to get the win, and there's nothing stopping him from winning at the moment. So I would give it to Two-Bit.
Yes.
And Ryan Hunter, Sam Bailey, who knows? Ryan Hunter, you would say advantage to someone like Sam Bailey, but Ryan Hunter in Morecambe, as much as I hate those fans, they give him a different level of energy.
Yes.
So you can't write him off ever.
No riot if Two-Bit beats Ryan Hunter in the final.
Sorry?
There's going to be riots if Two-Bit beats Ryan Hunter in the final.
Yeah, it would be crazy. It'd be good to see, though. I like seeing those guys miserable, all those fans. I feed off their tears. So, it would be an ideal situation would be Two-Bit beating Ryan Hunter in the finals.
Yes, I can see that. I can see them like John Cena or RBD. See the wins we ride. We don't see them with size. Yeah. And then for the Women's Championship, you have Lexus Falcon versus Gia Adams versus Tonga versus Lizzie Evo. The fatal 4-way elimination match.
Again. Those wrestlers are the top women wrestlers in the country. They've wrestled each other so many times that they know each other so well.
Yeah.
So it is literally just going to be a game of chess. It's whoever wants it most and can bring it on the day will be the one who wins. I'm sure they've all beat each other before, so it will be whoever wants it most on the day, whoever can dig deep and find it within them to get the win will be. So it'll be basically more of a test of heart, really. That one, because
I can't wait for this one.
Because to be honest, I think with those four, they all know what each other can do. They may impress us and they may shock us, but they're not going to shock each other.
No,
they're going to be well scouted for their opponents, and it'll be difficult. And I'm not even going to pick a winner because I don't know. I don't know who it could be.
Because at TNT, these are like two of the biggest rivalries at the moment. So Gia Adams and Tonga are the feud, and Lexus Falcon and Lizzie Evo have been in this never-ending but still brilliant feud over the title for seems like years. And Lizzie free belts at the moment. She's catch champion, TNT Extreme champion.
Exactly. It looks like she's going for all the gold.
Yeah.
Exactly. She looks like she's going for all the gold. So, once you're on that run of momentum and that confidence is high, you're hard to beat.
Yeah.
So
that's all right,
you never know. Maybe it's Lizzie.
At the 10th anniversary, the PCW 10th anniversary show, she put all her titles on the line against Nightshade, and that was a fun match. She was that confident she'll win.
Exactly. And it's just, once you've got that level of confidence, it's like a footy player when they're scoring for fun and you can just see they just know they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they get into the dangerous areas, they just know they can put it in the back of the net. It's the same with a similar situation that Lizzie's in now. She's in a title match again, and she's won title match after title match after title match. So really, you'd think she'd have the advantage, but at the same time, Alexis Falcon, she really got a start as a basically a main event caliber women's wrestler in Morecambe. I think Morecambe was the first place, the defunct Alpha Omega, the first place that she actually won a championship. So it's almost like a home game for her because the fans love her. If you say, she's almost gets the reactions as, almost like a Ryan Hunter level where it's like you've got a fan base that are there and there for you and are behind you and really, really want you to win. And again, you get that second kick from that, I'm sure. Well, I say I'm sure, I don't know because they've always hated me. But, I'm sure it's going to feel like a home game for her. She's wrestled there a lot more than the others. So she's seen it and done it in Morecambe. So, but then, you can't rule out. So I'm still, even though I'm going around it, I still can't pick a winner.
I can't pick a winner. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, so tickets will be available on the Odyssey Pro Wrestling website. I'll put links in the description below the interview.
This is Sheriff Steele, and you've been listening to Broken But Glorious podcast.
Alright, so if you're a promoter for a day, promoting events, using wrestlers you've either worked with, trained with, wrestlers are associated to you in some way, if I give you a match title, you tell me who you're putting that match?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And as it's your card, if you want to make every match intergender, every match could be triple threat, fatal four-way, multi-person, throw a stupid stipulation on if you want. It's up to you.
Not always.
Okay, so who'll be in your opening contest to get the crowd excited?
To get the crowd excited, I would say, to get the crowd, I would say an opening match, Rick Marcus, and against, and I know they did this in Morecambe already, but it was brilliant, against Lance Rivera.
Yes, that was a fun match. That was a great opener, a great introduction to Odyssey, I thought, that match.
It was one of those matches where that's how an opener should be, you've got a star that they all know, who they're all behind, and, they just had a proper match, really. So yeah, just really good back and forth action, and a decisive victory, which, so I'd go with that.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the few matches Lance has lost since he's come back. He's surrounded me. So we had a running joke on the podcast that nobody's ever saw him win a match, but since he's come back from lockdown, he's won pots. Alright, a comedy style match?
Comedy match? Someone who, doesn't always do it, but I've seen him do it before, do it really well. Matt Fox.
Yes, he's fun.
Because I know he can wrestle rings about people if he wants to. He's a great technical wrestler. But in Morecambe, I thought he came into his own.
Yes.
Doing quite comedic stuff. And it was brilliant. So Matt Fox. And I'd have him against, and he worked as in a tag team with him, but I would have him against Mark Meltzer.
Ooh, that would be fun. Mark Meltzer doing what of it being a 80s legend.
Exactly. So it would work very well, and I know they were more of a team when they did it, but to see them really face off against each other would be, I'm sure, great fun for the fans.
That'd be fun. Your women's title match.
My women's title match.
Copy and paste what you said before.
Yeah. See, I could do that, but we've already, the women's title match I would pick probably the one that's already been announced, but I don't know, maybe I'd do mix it up and maybe go for Alexis Falcon against maybe someone that she's outsized by and maybe and has a bit more power, and someone like maybe like a Heidi Katrina.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun.
So that would be interesting to see. It's probably happened somewhere in the country, but like I haven't seen that before, so that would probably be something that's quite good.
Did you see Heidi Katrina battering Lou Nixon at Rise in the street? The videos
I've seen clips of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. I didn't see the whole.
Yeah, I've only seen clips of it. I was like, wow.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact is that she can go there with the guys and do that, and it will be Alex. I'm sure Alexis Falcon, she can do the same. So I'm sure that'll be an interesting matchup there.
Then your mid-card title match or workhorse title?
Workhorse. So I would say someone like 2-Bit.
Yes.
Who, to be honest, is again, as I said, on a roll there. He's on a roll at the moment in the country. He's smashing it, and everywhere he goes, he's making an impact. And having Jennifer by his side, he's looking unbeatable right now. So him against, because him against anyone would be good, but maybe him against, just to throw it out there, him against someone like Keenan.
Ooh,
and I know Keenan's, we're all underclass brothers in Barrow, and we don't infight. We're not about that. But I would love to see who would win.
Yeah, that'd be
because
fun.
they're a similar size. They've got similar styles. Keenan's maybe a little bit more technical, where 2-Bit's got the viciousness with his strikes and a bit more ferocious. So I would love to see that. See how that happens. See how that goes.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can just imagine the whole match is 2-Bit just targeting Keenan's bad knee the whole match, and then somehow in the end Keenan overcomes his bad knee and gets a roll up or something.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be, as 2-Bit says, he wraps his arm around your head and puts you in the rat trap and puts you to sleep. So, that's the thing. It just takes a second for him to do that. So,
how about hardcore extreme rules, stipulation type match?
Hardcore extreme. You know what? I love a scrap. I love getting down and dirty. So I put myself in there.
Yeah.
Against Alton Thorne.
Ooh.
So
yeah, I'd like that.
A guy who we were in Hellbound together. And I know now he's doing a lot more of that style. And me versus him would be a war, would be an absolute war.
If, let's say, you're in this hardcore match against Alton Thorne and he went under the ring and pulled out a bag, would you prefer it to be pins or would you prefer it to be Lego?
I don't know. Neither, to be honest, because as soon as he came out there with a bag, hopefully I've got a bottle in my hand and I'll just smash it over his head and knock him out so I can get the win. But to be fair, it's whatever he thinks he's going to land on, because if he can pull it out, I'm going to throw him before he gets me. So, so Alton Thorne, if we end up going at it and you think of bringing a bag, think about what you're going to be landing on, not what I am.
Yeah.
Because definitely it'll be you. It'll be you taking that, mate.
A tag team title?
Tag team titles. Synergy.
Yes.
As a tag team, brilliant.
Brilliant faces, brilliant heels.
Brilliant wherever they are. Yeah. And then it's a mixed one, because you could go with like the likes of Reese and Rogan, who could match up with them well. But then also you've got, I do like the dynamic when it's like a smaller team trying to outfox them. So you've got the likes of Lycos Jim, who also may be interesting. So I wouldn't be able to decide between those which one I want, but because it's always good. I always like the dynamic when it's a big team or a big guy versus a small guy, and seeing how the small guy can methodically overcome the lack of size and the fact that they're not going to be able to really lift them up. They're not going to really be able to overpower them and outfight them, so they have to outsmart them and out-wrestle them in different ways.
Yeah, their match against Freak Show on the debut Odyssey show was so fun.
Yeah, exactly. And the Freak Show didn't quite manage it, but it's the same thing where it's like, you've got, as soon as you're lacking that size, you've got to think about it differently. And, I've wrestled a lot of smaller guys, and it's, they can be slippery. So it's about getting them and grounding them, and a lot of them will wriggle out, and, so
they did an amazing job of isolating Troy Ryan for much of the match, and then he got the hot tag, and then
once he got that tag, it was almost pretty much that was it all over. So it would be interesting to see maybe the likes of Lycos maybe. I would probably prefer that, but then also the spectacle of them against Reese and Rogan, and just big lads brawling, which is always fun.
Big beefy boys battling each other.
Yeah, big beefy boys battling each other. That's always fun to watch. I mean, you're always going to sell tickets doing that.
Yeah, and then to your main event.
And to my main event, as much as I hate to say it, Ryan Hunter, as I've not really seen anyone, just because of the fact of the reaction he gets, especially from where I've not seen many people get as visceral reaction as him, really. Against maybe, Craig Collins. Because, to be honest, there's not a big, again, there's no such thing as a bigger fight feeling than what Craig Collins can bring. Because as soon as his music hits, and as soon as he comes out the curtain, it's go time straight away. He brings the intensity up by 100, and straight away you see it, and then you can tell the fans feel it. So I would have those two go at it. And it's not like a fantasy match. I've seen it before, and it was brilliant then. Now I think it would be even better.
That'd be a great card. I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, would be good, wouldn't it? It'd be cool.
So where else can people see you in the near future before we go?
If Odyssey Pro Wrestling are running a show, I probably won't be on the show, but I'll make myself known. I'm wrestling the Kingdom of Wrestling's first show.
Yes, 27th.
Yes, that's right. That's me and Steele, a man who looks an awful lot like Mark Meltzer, but I can promise you it's not Mark Meltzer. And we're going against Born Ready, and we're gonna just have to. And unfortunately for RPD, it's the first time really he's gonna be face to face across the ring from me, and all this chat about knocking me out on Twitter, he's just gonna have to back it up, man.
Yeah.
So, and then I'd say stay